Hi, welcome to Zoom Around Town. Today we have special guest, Meredith Keet, owner of Ethos in downtown Capitol, in the heart of Capitol Village. Welcome.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm so glad to have you on our show. So tell me about your shop, Ethos.
So we started Ethos. We actually celebrated our 1-year anniversary after closing for COVID at the end of March. And we are a low waste living shop. So often they're known as zero waste shops, these types of shops. So we embrace products and resources that help you live with less plastic and less waste in general. So lots of reusable items, lots of compostable items, and just eco-friendly, and trying to work also on more like ethical, that type of thing as well. So yeah, it's been a good year, and of course now we're on the like the COVID roller coaster, but so far so good. We just launched a website, so that's been really helping us out and a great resource for the community too. So yeah, it's going.
Tell me about your website.
So actually after we closed, we just started like putting as many products together as we could and launched this really great site that has, huge number of the products that we have in the shop and are offering pickup for people. And then we contracted with a local bike delivery service called PetX. So they bike our deliveries around town too, which is super cool, and fits with our ethos that we're not using any gas, which is great. No carbon emissions there. So yeah, we're excited about it and just trying to kind of drive more traffic to the website now and give us a little bit more flexibility so that if we do have to close again or anything like that, then we have that to help support us as well.
That's awesome. So you said you've been in business a year. Congratulations. That's a big feat.
Thank you.
And how did you get started? What inspired your idea to do this?
So my family and we read about a woman, I think she's in Marin, who she and her family of 4 lived for a year and only produced one little mason jar of trash.
What?
And yeah, we were just like blown away. We're like, how in the world did they do that?
Yeah, that's impossible. I mean, obviously it's possible, but like I could not even imagine. How is that possible?
Yeah, so we started asking ourselves that and looking at everything that was ending up in our trash and then trying to rethink those items. And then we did something called a trash challenge, which is basically for an entire week, we collected all of our trash into a jar. For us, it was like a very big jar. And then at the end of that week, we went through everything. And like I said, we tried to just parse out, okay, like this candy wrapper, what could we do with the candy wrapper, or what could we do to prevent the candy wrapper from ending up in our trash? So a lot of it is like in minimalism and buying less and just being like more conscious of every purchase. And when you start thinking that way, it's kind of like someone like pulls back the blinds and you're like, oh my God, this is everything that we come into contact with, like it has to end up somewhere. So where does it go? And yeah, so that was kind of how we got started. And then we actually, my husband and I and our 2 kids, we took a year off, just like left our jobs, left our house, left our family, our extended family, and we went and traveled around the world for a year.
Wow.
Yeah, it was amazing and very eye-opening in terms of just the pollution and the plastic waste and like our overconsumption, everything, everywhere, and how interconnected it is. So then we just decided we had to do something and looked back at this whole zero waste lifestyle and that this is something that we actually have control over on a day-to-day, moment-to-moment basis. And in a way, it feels really like empowering to embrace that. So Yeah, so then ethos was born, and it's been really really cool, very great. um yeah, no complaints.
So when you took your trip around the world, how old are your kids?
So when we left, they were 7 and 9.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they were great ages for homeschooling and just absorbing everything, and they remember it, so they were old enough to remember all of it too. um yeah, it was an adventure for sure.
What a game changer.
Yeah, it really was. It really was. Yeah, I was a nurse practitioner before, and I ended up just not going back to my career, so this is a totally new adventure. But it's a great, creativity, and yeah, it's got a ton of aspects that I love, and it feels good to feel like you're doing something
Mhm.
to help the environment and the planet.
So, yeah, how is your job now similar or different to your other job? I mean, you're dealing with people similarly, but in a totally different way.
Oh yeah, it's really really different. People are generally, they're more excited to come into your shop, obviously, than they would be to go into the doctor's office. And so it's more, and it's a great interaction with customers in terms of like learning from each other and doing this problem solving over, oh, I've got this thing that I can't figure out what to do with, and or find a substitute for, and then we're having this great like interaction to try to figure out, okay, yeah, what is the answer to that? How could we do that better? And so in that way, it's great. Of course, they have the same like problem solving that comes in when you're seeing a patient. It's not just like I'm going to tell you what to do. There's a give and a take, but yeah, the whole attitude towards it is very different.
So you had mentioned earlier that maybe there's a word for, like, is there like a cultural word or something for like the zero waste, or did I miss that?
Yeah, so generally, when we kind of jumped into this movement, it's been the zero waste movement for, since it started. And for us, it kind of just became like this daunting, we'd have people come into the shop and just say zero waste, like there's no way I can do that. And, kind of just like, this is crazy, and throw up their hands. And so trying to make it a little bit more welcoming. It's not about being the person with the mason jar. It's about just making a tiny little dent in your waste, or in your consumption, or whatever it is for you. That's where you are, and that's where the low waste, I think we're going to start to see more of that, it transitioning to that, because it's less off-putting or like overwhelming. Instead, it's like, oh yeah, I could make that one little switch. And then it's like, okay, you're part of the movement now. You don't have to be the mason jar person to make a difference.
Right. So do you have, what kind of things do you sell? And like for somebody who has a big house or multiple kids or small kids, I would think that, okay, how do I go about doing this? So what are the things that you recommend? Do you have recommendations, or is it just kind of like we go into your shop and we figure it out ourselves, or what's the experience?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing is like what my family did, which is just taking a look at your trash. And it doesn't have to be a week, it could be a day, it could be an hour, like whatever it is. Um, and seeing what's in there, is it like plastic bags? Okay, what if you must always like pack your kids' lunches in plastic bags? Is there a different thing that you could be using? And so we sell like a silicone bag, which is sealable. You can stick it in the microwave, you can stick it in the dishwasher, and it just keeps going, going and going and going. And so get rid of that, or could you switch to a little like stainless steel lunchbox, and then that could just be reused and reused instead of plastic bag, or things like that for kids. Or just looking at like, what's the trash in your bathroom? So like your dental floss, we have a little refillable dental floss. So you can actually compost the dental floss, which you can't compost the dental floss that we have now. It's made of plastic, so you're essentially flossing your teeth with plastic. So this, you just refill it with your little floss and your floss spool, and there's no waste there. Or a bamboo toothbrush. So it's just, I think it's just kind of opening your eyes to what you're creating, and then figuring out what the swaps are. And it's not always buying something, you know, it could be making something instead. Like maybe you're gonna make your own laundry detergent or something. It's not, you know, it's not always about buying, definitely. So yeah, I think it starts in your own home. Coming into the shop is helpful for ideas, certainly, but yeah, I think having that eye-opening experience is key too.
So how have you changed your life and made it more sustainable and less wasteful?
So in all of those ways,
Wow.
yeah, and I think starting with one, composting, which I think is the biggest, probably the number one thing that people can do, because all of the food waste that we create and just throw in the trash ends up being a huge emitter of greenhouse gases when it ends up in the landfill.
Wow.
Yeah, there's some statistic, and I'm probably going to misquote it, but it's like if food waste were a country, it would be the third largest emitter of greenhouse gases.
Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah, so everyone thinks, well, it's food; it's just going to like biodegrade. And
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
Yes, this like blew my mind when I learned this. So when they fill the landfill, basically they cover it and they tamp it down, and then there's no air that can get in there. So, you know, what should be an aerobic breakdown of this food
Oh,
is not able to happen. So all of this breakdown is happening, and then what comes out is methane. So taking that out of your trash, and just, even if you just throw the pile in your backyard and you don't garden or anything, that's way better than sending it to the landfill. So that's one huge thing. And the other is just buying less. So each purchase you make, trying to make it be a very conscious purchase. We avoid at all costs buying from Amazon, for example, and try to go like directly to the company that makes it, for one. So that's a pretty easy switch to make. And yeah, just like thinking about everything. It's a process, definitely. It's like starting with one little thing and then seeing what next little thing you can do, and not trying to bite it all off in one sitting. Otherwise, you're just going to be like, forget it. This is insane. So
I can imagine it can be overwhelming. I mean, I honestly didn't know about the greenhouse gases. Like, we've been wanting to do a compost. We don't have it yet. I'm like, okay, how can we do it so there's not a ton of rats? Like, I don't know if it's possible to not have a lot of rats, especially living like in the woods. So,
right, yeah, and that's the beauty of it too, is like there are lots of different types and ways of composting, and there are ways of doing it that you aren't going to attract rodents. Is that sometimes a side effect? Yes, but figuring out what your situation, you know, do you live in an apartment? Do you live in the woods? You know, we're in town here, and we have chickens, and so we've got, you know, it's like just this whole, yeah,
do you,
everyone has their unique environment.
do you feed your chickens the table scraps?
Yeah, yeah. So we do like a combo of what goes to the chickens, and then what goes to the compost, and that works out well. Yeah.
So I'm interested in learning more about this. So do you guys provide books, or do you provide resources for someone like me to be able to get more information on composting, as an example?
Yeah, so we do carry a number of books. We're trying to increase that. You know, we had a lending library before we closed, but for COVID reasons, when we reopened, we had to get rid of the library.
Yeah.
Um, And one thing we were also doing were workshops. So, talking about zero waste and talking about different swaps that you can make for, your daily like household items. And then we also, and in the future, plan to do things like composting workshops and things. But there's also through the County Department of Public Works, they offer a free composting workshop, and it's great. So you can, go learn all about it there too. So there are so many resources out there. It's astounding. But I think my main message would be, don't be daunted by it. Like just do it. Just get started, because then you'll start to see it's not as big of a deal as it seems.
Yeah. What is your most favorite product at your shop?
Probably we sell some shampoo and conditioner bars. So instead of having a liquid that typically comes in a plastic bottle, it just looks like a soap bar. And you just like rub it in your hair and rinse and repeat. And it's awesome. It's definitely our best seller. They're fantastic, and just like such an easy swap, and you're not sacrificing. You're not saying, oh, okay, well, I'll make this swap because I don't want the plastic bottle anymore, even though it's going to make my hair look terrible or whatever. It's like, no, it's not a sacrifice. It's actually like better. So that's probably my favorite.
Oh, that's amazing. And is this on your website?
Yeah.
Awesome. So can you share with us what your website is?
Yeah, it's www.ethossantacruz.com. That's ETHOS Santacruz.com.
Awesome. We're here with Meredith Keet, and she's the owner of Ethos Santa Cruz in downtown Capitola. And we'll be right back after this break. All right, welcome back. We are here at Zoom Around Town with Meredith Keet, owner of Ethos Santa Cruz. And I'm just so happy to have you on the show, because I'm learning so much about how I can work to be more sustainable in my life. You are a shop with a mission.
We are a shop with a mission. Yes, we definitely. It guides every decision that we make. Certainly. So good. I'm glad you're learning something. It's there's so much I learn every single day. So it's fun.
And so where are you located again?
So we are in the corner of Capitola Avenue and Monterey Avenue, right in the heart of Capitola Village.
So how has it been in the last few weeks as you're opening back up and people are coming into the shop? How's your business been doing?
Good. It's been really good. It's been so nice to see people again in person and be able to have these kinds of conversations, which have been absent. It's also been really fun because we've had people who have been, waiting for us to open so they can come back in and, get whatever product it is that they haven't had access to. Or we also have some like specialty recycling boxes through this company called TerraCycle, where you can recycle different like beauty product packaging, or like your oral care waste, like toothpaste tubes or your plastic toothbrushes or whatever. And so people have been coming in who've been saving these things to recycle because they know they're just going to end up in the landfill. So we had someone come in just yesterday who had like a paper bag full of contact lenses and the packaging and everything. And so we have a box for that. So that's been really cool. It just shows like people are really connected to this movement, and they didn't want COVID to interrupt their ability to keep doing that, to keep those efforts going. So that's been really, really cool.
That's awesome. Do you send out a newsletter with different tips every month or anything like that? Like, how do we learn more about the zero waste movement?
Yeah, so we do a newsletter, which you can sign up through our website, and then probably Instagram is the most up to date that I recommend for products and for any specials or anything like that we've got going on.
Nice. What is a product that you're really excited about? I know you shared earlier about the shampoo, which is amazing, and I'll have to try that because I definitely use bottled shampoo. But tell me, what is something else that you're really excited about sharing?
Um, well, we have a whole bulk refill section. So what that means, and the way that we've been doing it as, in this COVID world, is that we bottle the bulk items in mason jars. So let's say it's dish soap. We put it in a mason jar. You pay a deposit on the jar, and then you pay for the bulk item, and you can bring that jar back. We refund you the deposit, and then you could just get a new jar. So there's no waste involved in the whole cycle of it. So I'd say I'm most excited just about that area in general, because we're really trying to grow that, because it really is, to skip the whole bottle thing completely, not having that plastic bottle or anything and having it be circular is really cool. So we even have like toothpaste tablets. So instead of a toothpaste tube, you just have this little tablet and you bite down on it, and then you start brushing your teeth. And so there's no tube, no trash, no anything. And so we sell those in bulk. So it's just gotten rid of that entire waste cycle. That's what I'm most excited about, and which I think our customers are most excited about as well.
So what happens if, like, I live in Bonnie Doon and Capitola is kind of far? So how would I go about getting your products? Just having you shop, or do you ship, or what's the deal with that?
We do ship, yeah. But Bonnie Doon, I'd say we get a lot of orders from Bonnie Doon on the website that they'll just order to pick up.
Okay.
So you can just stop into the shop if you don't want to shop in person, and just say, give us your name, and then we hand over your order. So that's a good way, but we do ship, and we've been doing a fair amount of that in the last couple months.
Now with the toothpaste tablets, that is something I've never heard of. So, it's a great backpacking thing too. So is it really, does it clean your teeth?
Yes, it's incredibly minty. And I tell people it's kind of like brushing your teeth with like an Altoid or something. Like it's super minty. It's not for everybody. I mean, some people will be like, no, that just doesn't work for me. But we have more and more people requesting it and liking it. But yeah, it's great for travel. Not that, we're all traveling very much right now, but yeah, you just eliminate the tube. But yeah, so we usually let people like try one too, because you don't want to buy a bunch of them if you don't like the texture or the taste.
I really like the idea of the bulk. It reminds me of buying like organic milk at the store, and you get the deposit for the bottle and then you just bring it right back. That's great.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then all the products are really eco-friendly. So you're not, the shampoo doesn't have, it's not with a bottle, it's a bar, but it doesn't have phosphates and all that, whatever it is that right. You would have.
Yeah, exactly. So the other part, of the shop is that we put so much research into every product that we have, which is a really big deal right now, because there's a lot of greenwashing that goes on, greenwashing is where you just kind of pin like all natural onto a product description, and then everyone thinks, oh, well, it's all natural. But it's like there's no regulation for what standards you need to meet in order to say that. And so it's kind of taking this deep dive into every product that we choose to make sure that they truly are natural, that they truly are a company that's worth supporting. And, we try to source as close to home as possible, and then we kind of expand out. So I think that's the other important element, is it's making sure that when you do go down this road, that what you're choosing actually claims to be what it is. So avoiding greenwashing at all costs.
Yeah, you can put all natural on cornflakes and it's super highly processed. So you just really have, the research is really important. So who does that research for you?
Myself, and then I have another employee. So it's the two of us that really like dig in and have tons of back and forth with the businesses and just do as much groundwork as we possibly can.
So basically, if I come to your shop and go shopping, I know that it's going to be sustainably sourced and eco-friendly and as little waste as possible. And I can just go to you as the expert, and I don't have to do the hours and hours of research on my own. I can just say, hey, Meredith, what do I need this, I need some different, shampoo, or I need laundry detergent, help me out.
Exactly. So that's what we want to be for the community, is be that resource so that people can just come in and say, hey, I need this, and feel assured that we're not just, I don't know, insincere, or, that we stand behind our mission and we stand behind the products that we've chosen, and just making it up as we go.
Well, it sounds like you're using most of your products as well.
Well, yeah, we test everything too before we stock it. So we make sure that we like it too, because there's no sense in making these swaps where it ends up being, not worth the money. It's like you're sacrificing. We want to avoid that situation as well.
So are the products that you carry, are they more expensive than these alternatives that are more wasteful? Or is it comparable, or does it depend?
It depends. Yeah. So certainly sometimes, always it's going to cost more to, say, buy organic cotton versus conventional cotton, that type of thing. We definitely try to price as competitively as possible. So like the bulk goods, we are priced as low as we possibly can, because we want to encourage people to buy in bulk. But that is one downside of this movement, is that it all tends to be more expensive. And I like to use the analogy of like organic produce. So when organic produce first came about, it was so much more expensive than the conventional, that it took all of us, making that conscious choice, if we had the resources to do it, until there were enough people buying organic that the price was able to come down. So now it's more comparable. So this is like the beginning of that movement, and we're hoping that the more people that get on board, that the more those prices can kind of start to come down. But yeah, we try to stay as reasonable as possible.
That's awesome. And what do you see yourself doing as the business grows? You've been around for a year, so what does it look like this year two?
Year two. Well, this is 2020, and 2020's thrown a lot of curveballs. So we're just kind of trying to figure out what the most sustainable model in terms of like business wise is for us. And we'd love to do more things, like being in Capitola is awesome, and figure out, could we do maybe farmers markets on the west side or something to provide a little bit more access to other parts of the county. Because you'll often hear the refrain that locals don't want to go down into the village because parking is so hard. And but we have had a huge following from the local community. And so I think this year is trying to figure out how we can provide them with better access, whatever that may look like. So we're mulling that over. And then we also, the Black Lives Matter movement, we want to get involved in that and do our part. We're still trying to figure out what that might look like, but coming from the place of privilege that we do, we want to be involved and we want to do our part. So that's all kind of being mulled around right now.
That's awesome. It's really great that you're not just contributing to the well-being of the earth, but also the community. That's great.
We're trying.
Yeah, it's work. I know it's a lot of work. Owning a business it's a thankless task, and it's a challenge, and especially a business with a purpose is commendable and very, very great.
Thank you. You would know. Yep.
So is there anything else you want to share with us? Any events that are upcoming or anything, any sales that you've got going on?
Um, we just reopened our doors, so I think we're just trying to figure out what that looks like for the moment. So I would just encourage anyone who's listening to follow us on Instagram or check out our website and you stay tuned because yeah, you haven't heard the last from us. So
What's your Instagram handle?
oh yeah, our handle is at Ethos Santa Cruz. That's ETHOS Santa Cruz.
And the website is ethosantacruz.com.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Meredith, owner of Ethos Santa Cruz, located in the heart of Capitola and Capitola Village. It was great having you on our show, and thank you so much for sharing all the wonderful things you're doing.
Thank you so much, Jaimi, for having me.
You're welcome. All right. Sorry, my phone was ringing, but we'll be able to edit that. Thanks so much. It is so cool what you're doing. It's amazing.
Thank you.
It's rad, dude. It's so cool. I'm gonna have to go down to your shop or get online because I really want. Like, I'm so interested in the shampoo, and I'm thinking like I use biodegradable Dr. Bronner's, but it's in a gallon freaking plastic container.
Yes, so we have Castile soap too, so you can in bulk, so you can even refill that container. We're technically not supposed to be refilling containers. People bring your own right now, but we're kind of like,
yeah, I agree with you, especially since they're like, oh, what is like the CDC's like, oh, it doesn't actually stay on surfaces. So it's like, okay, I'm not buying, like, I just think there's a whole political agenda around that. So I'm just like, it's ridiculous. Yeah. What about laundry detergent? What do you use for laundry detergent?
So we have a bulk laundry detergent, just a powder. We don't have liquid, and it's from this company in Chicago. It's like, you know, super basic ingredients, and you know, I've been using it for the last like year and a half or so, and it's awesome. It's not, no complaints. And we did like a price matching too, before we stocked it, and it's like comparable to Tide.
Oh wow!
I know, so it's good.
That's awesome. We use I've been using. Have you heard of Drops?
Yes, we have their dishwasher tablets that we sell in bulk.
Oh, they have dishwasher tablets?
Yeah. And people keep asking for the laundry tablets, so we might think about that, but their ingredients are a little overwhelming to kind of parse through.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just, you know, trying to make sense of all of them and what's what.
Yeah, you want it to be really clean. I totally hear that.
Yeah, exactly.
As a consumer, I'm just like, oh, their commercial's great.
Right. Yeah, well, I mean, that's why we have the dishwasher tabs, is because we're like, you know, these are great. Like, of everything that's out there, and they work really well too. So,
I'll get those from you because I use like 7th generation, and it's just not the best. And it's my dish is clean, so.
Right. Yeah. There's so many things. It's crazy. It's daunting.
I'm glad though it was super busy for you this last weekend. That's awesome.
Yeah, I know. We'll have to see how it keeps going. Everything feels so tenuous, you know, just kind of like, what's gonna happen next? But
I know. Did you guys get a loan or anything?
We got the PPP loan.
That's good.
And I mean, I've never paid myself, so that's, I guess, helpful. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just like, I feel like it like delays the inevitable. Like, we really have to get people back to work to have jobs to spend money. And I'm hoping that it will happen and people get off unemployment.
Yeah, exactly. I know that's the other piece too, is like, well, if the virus doesn't shut everything down, then is the recession going to, like, are people just going to stop spending money? In which case everything's just gonna, so.
Yeah, I mean, we've tried to negotiate with our landlords, and like that wasn't super successful. They weren't.
I was gonna ask you, because that's kind of next on my my to-do list because they've just been terrible. I mean, they said, "Oh, we'll give you half off of June, but you have to make it up by December." I'm like,
I know.
that does me no good whatsoever.
I know I've definitely had to like make up. I like got April abated, but then I've had to like, I'm paying it back over time. So I mean, it helps a little bit, but like I'm gonna like one of my leases was up in February, so I'm gonna see if I can negotiate it down or just not have it increase because like, yeah, it's a lot. I mean,
Right. Well, that's what I don't understand as like the property owners, they who's gonna lease something right now and like start a business?
nobody.
You'd have to be out of your mind.
Totally. There's just, it's not, I mean, yeah, exactly. I think it's ridiculous. So, people are lucky that we're even in their spots, and I think what'll happen, I don't think we've seen the worst of it. I have a hunch that what'll happen is people are going to be on unemployment until July with the good amount. And then after July, it's going to change, because people,
Right.
they can't live off of $450 a week or $200 a week or whatever it is.
Right. Right. And then that's really gonna be when it comes home. Yeah.
Yeah, and then if there's a second surge, like I'm really hoping that they come up with some type of more research or something to prove that this is not as bad as they're saying, but I don't know if that's true. I mean, I have no idea.
Right. Right. I know. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think we all would love to believe it's not, but my husband's a doctor and
Where does he work?
he works at the Palo Alto VA.
Oh, okay.
He's been caring for coronavirus patients. They don't have any right now, which is crazy. But so he really dove into all of this, and he's convinced it's gonna be terrible come like fall through winter.
Oh, really? We have a doctor that we work with, and he also works in the ER, and he was saying that they shut down they like got rid of the white tents at the hospital, and like it hasn't been very bad.
Yeah, no, it hasn't. But I think everyone's assuming that this
It's
is
over.
a lull.
Oh yeah.
That it's a little break.
Yeah, dude, I don't know. Yeah, because if our business has to shut down again, like I don't, what are they gonna give us more funding? Like what's gonna happen?
Right? Like I don't know. I mean, what are we all gonna do? That's gonna be when it could get super hairy.
Yeah, I'm taking out like I got approved for the disaster loan, and I was debating whether to take it. I mean, it's low interest, but I think just having the money is gonna be a good thing just in case.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I was debating that too. But yeah,
And then also like in helping people get loans, there's so many people that don't know how to do their finances. And so, because I was like, okay, well, what if I get this money and like, okay, what is the worst case? At worst case, I file bankruptcy, then I'll never be able to take out a federal loan again because like, but then that may change, right? That rule may change
right,
because that's what the rule is now. And like, they've never handed out this many loans in the history of the universe. You know what I mean?
right, right. Yeah,
And if I'm thinking that that's a worst case scenario for me, and I'm not doing as, and I'm helping other people, it's just I could like, I was told like some statistic when this all started that like 25, was it 40% of the businesses, like a lot of places just aren't going to reopen as a result of this, and 40, so like 40 or 50% are going to make it. Of that 40 to 50% in a year, they're not going to. 25% of them will be gone. So yeah, it'll just weed out the people who are like, oh, this is a fun
right,
thing
right.
versus this is my business and my livelihood.
Yeah. So crazy. I mean, we're already seeing it in the village. Like, there's just places that are empty now, right across the street from us. Well, Carmel Bay Company went out of business, but they were like closing up before COVID. But, there's the Capitola Candy Company, I think, is closing.
Yeah,
It's like all these businesses that, what otherwise would have continued are just, nope. And that's just the beginning, like you were saying, you know, then like what happens on this next round, or yeah, when we come out of this.
I'm hoping that there's some type of like, I mean, I don't know. I thought people were working on vaccines, but that takes years to create.
Unless they do this fast tracking, but then you're like, well, how safe is that going to be?
Oh yeah, I'm not going to take it.
Right? I know they're like, oh, this like 4-year process, and now we've done it in 6 months. Like, no.
There's no way in hell I'm going to touch that thing. But hey, if it makes people feel better.
You're not going to be alone, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was so great getting to know you. Thanks so much for being on the call.
Yeah, thank you for doing this. It's really cool that you're giving a platform to all these businesses and what you're doing. It's cool.
Yeah, just trying to build community in any way that I can, because it's like, dude, that's the only way we're gonna survive.
It's been amazing, like just seeing the rising of support. Well, now, yeah, it's been really good. I've been amazed by this small business community around here since we opened.
Did Capitola do anything with any grants or anything for Capitola businesses?
No, it's been kind of disappointing. I mean, I sit on the board of the Business Improvement Association, and it's been like silence all around. I'm like, isn't this why we exist? Like, I don't know. So
yeah, Santa Cruz, they did a loan that I got, but it's a loan and I have to pay it back in 3 months. And I'm like, yeah,
months?
You know, it's 0% interest for 3 months, and then you have to start paying it back. And it's just like, Are you kidding me? Like, this is just, I mean, how is this gonna happen? Like, I have no idea. We're not even like, yeah. I mean, we've got people coming back, but like I sent out personal messages to our top 100 clients, like the biggest spenders. And some of them are like, we're definitely coming back, but we're not in the front of the line. And I'm like, cool, we've been open this whole time. We've been able to work, and now we've been able to do medical massage, and then we're going to be able to do massage on the 19th for anybody. And people are still like, no, I don't want to come in.
No, right. That's so rough. But I mean, you can understand from their perspective, right? They're like, or maybe it's something they've been dealing with for, 4 years, and they're like, what's another year like of my shoulder pain or whatever.
Right, exactly. I'll just wait. And I mean, I get it, and it's just like, please.
Yeah. Now, please. Yeah.
So we'll make it. I mean, I just can't be so attached, like this is something better, and we'll just see. It's kind of got to be patient and see.
Exactly. Like, do your best and let it go. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, if there's anything you need, and if there's any way that I can support you, just please reach out. I just thank you so much for being on the call today.